suspects in the Oyo abduction terrorist incident has today been sentenced to life imprisonment. The three suspects today appeared in court. The link to the abduction of students and teachers in the Orire local government area of Oyo State. And stakeholders call for a transparent, verifiable, and accountable results management process from polling unit to final declaration as fears are now raised over INEC result collation protocols. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale, live for you here in Abuja studio. Let's begin by first letting you know what really transpired today in court in relation to the Oyo abduction and the rescue that we've seen the federal government and the troops have been able to carry out. The Federal High Court in Abuja sentenced three of the suspects in the abduction of students and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State to life imprisonment. According to the court, the sentencing of Abdul Razak Umar, alias Abu Khalifa or Abu Khalid, Yunusa Musa, alias Yunusa Bing Musa, and Shamsu Adamusani, alias Abu Itisa, will start from the date of their arrest. Before the sentencing by Justice Salim Ibrahim, and counsel for the defendants pleaded with the court to sentence them on liberal terms. They added that they were first-time offenders and had pleaded guilty. Ibrahim pointed out that these show that they were remorseful of their actions and all the counts they were charged with are not related to the kidnapping. He added that the convicts, married men who have children and have aged parents who are dependent on them. He pleaded with the court to give them a second chance at life and sentence them on liberal terms. But the court eventually handed down a live jail term on the three of them.
The sentencing that my Lord opposed today clearly demonstrates the commitment of the judiciary to the fight against terrorism, to show that in our jurisdiction, violent or no violent crimes has no place to stay. So, in all, we are happy with the decision of the court, and we are still using this opportunity to encourage our people that when you see something, you say something. Failure to disclose the activity of your family members and friends that you know are connected to crime is more or less your demonstration of accepting and agreeing with the unlawful activity that they are perpetrating.
All right, that's the Prosecutor General of the Federation, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Oyedepo, that after the sentence, we're not clear just yet whether or not, we saw what the DSS did the last time. They were not satisfied because they felt that these persons committed some very terrible crimes against the Nigerian people and the state and should be handed down a bigger and a more severe terms of punishment, but we don't know what will come after this particular sentencing. So much to talk about tonight. Are you worried, or do you know what exactly is wrong with the process of collation of result at the election? There are those who fear that there are a lot of things that are wrong with how INEC is collating result, which may bring a big question mark as relating to the fairness, the integrity, and the credibility of the INEC election result collation protocol. We'll be digging into it at the given gaps and the opportunity for rigging of the election, because we need to follow what happens from voting to the final announcement and declaration of result. But if there is a problem with the process of collation of the result, then we need to speak out as a people. And so we'll be doing that for you. But again, there are concerns about how President Bola Tinubu is spending Nigeria's money in governance. There are those who raise question mark on capital releases. National Assembly lawmakers are asking critical questions, more revenue, but yet the releases are not. Where is the money? And these are big questions to ask the federal government under President Bola Tinubu. That gets our attention also tonight. I'm bringing you the details of the breaking news we're having for you right here on Channels Television, where we're seeing an announcement from President Bola Tinubu, where the presidency today has now increased the operational strategy of the Nigerian army. The presidency has said that the security architecture and the operational effectiveness of the Nigerian army needs to be improved upon, and the president has approved the expansion of the Nigerian army structure from 8 to 12 divisions. I'll be bringing you details after we serve you with your political roundup stories.
The Senate has warned all ministries, departments, and agencies and government-owned enterprises that continued failure to honor invitations from the National Assembly will attract sanctions in line with the 1999 Constitution as amended. The warning followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by Senator Sani Musa under Orders 41 and 51 on the persistent refusal of several MDAs and GOESs to appear before the Senate committees despite repeated invitations. Presenting the motion, Senator Musa reminded lawmakers that Sections 88 and 89 of the Constitution empower the National Assembly to investigate the activities of MDAs, GOESs, and any organization responsible for the disbursement or administration of funds approved by the legislature. He described the recurring failure of government agencies to honor Senate invitations as a direct affront to the authority and constitutional oversight responsibilities of the National Assembly. Meanwhile, the Senate has announced that its National Security Summit will tentatively held from September the 23rd to the 26th of 2026 in Abuja. The summit, themed Strengthening National Security Architecture in a Changing World, is expected to bring together key stakeholders to deliberate on strategies for addressing Nigeria's evolving security challenges. To ensure the successful organization of the event, the Senate disclosed that 5 subcommittees will be constituted to coordinate various aspects of the summit. Members of the committees are expected to continue preparations throughout the National Assembly's annual recess. Inspector General of Police, Mr. Olatunji Disu, has directed personnel across the country to deal decisively with those bearing illegal firearms under Force Order 329 to end the loss of service personnel when they encounter criminals to ensure peace is restored in Benue State. Mr. Disu gave the directive at a town hall meeting with Governor Hyacinth Alia in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, as part of his operational visit to the state following increased killings across the state. The civil society organization, the Transparency and Accountability Project, has unveiled the Independent Election Result Platform, a digital tool designed to enhance transparency and public confidence in Nigeria's electoral process. According to the director of the organization, Mr. Martin Obono, the platform will enable voters and election observers upload polling unit results directly to an independent online portal immediately after vote counting. He called on voters, civil society organizations, and accredited observers to play an active role in safeguarding the integrity of future elections. Members of the All Progressives Congress in Kwara State are calling for restraint following the conclusion of the party's primaries in the state. The stakeholders, including some aspirants during the primaries, made the call in separate interviews with Channels Television in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. They believe a united front will improve the party's chances of victory in the 2027 general elections.
There you have it, your political roundup stories. Let's now tell you and bring you an update on the ongoing saga between the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, and Nigerian business woman Aisha Achimugo, a businesswoman and the founder of Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited, who had come out about 24 hours ago to say that our life is under threat. And she has alleged that she has been unfairly treated by the EFC, the Anti-Graft Agency. Today, we saw a civil society organization in Abuja addressed a press conference that they have reviewed the case and they felt that there are a few issues that are concerning in the manner in which the EFCC had handled the matter. And they're asking the EFCC to be fair and to also look at the threat on the life of the widow and the businesswoman. Take a listen to them.
Our findings indicate that the process leading to the forfeiture was fraught with procedural irregularities. Justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done.
All right, some of the breaking news that we are following for you right now on the program. We now understand that President Bola Tinubu has made a decisive and a big move on the restructuring of the operational administration of the Nigerian Army. Today, the president has approved a 12-division structure for the Nigerian Army and recruitment of 28,000 personnel. This is a major move in getting more boots on the ground and increasing the capacity for the Nigerian Army to be able to extend their powers or their capacity to be able to monitor what is going on in the country. The bid is to enhance the country's security architecture. The presidency has put it and improve the operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army. The presidency, in a statement, says that the expansion builds on the administration's sustained investment in the armed forces, including approval for the recruitment of 28,000 additional personnel, acquisition of critical military platforms and equipment, improvements to troop welfare, and ongoing support for operational readiness and force modernization. The presidency is telling us that there are now going to be 12 operational divisions for the Nigerian Army. It used to be 8. Now, the divisions headquarters will be Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa State, where division headquarters of Ibadan for Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo State. Division headquarters for Jos, Plateau, Bauchi, and Gombe State. Divisional headquarters for the North Central will be in Makurdi, Benue, Nasarawa, and Kogi State, where division headquarters for South will be in Port Harcourt, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State will be covered, and the division headquarters for the Northeast, it be Maiduguri, Borno, and Yobe State to be covered. The other divisions include Sokoto, where Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara State will be covered, and the Ilorin division, Kwara, Niger State to be covered. Division headquarters in Jalingo will cover Taraba and Adamawa State, while the 81 division headquarters, which is in Lagos, will cover Lagos and Ogun State. The 82 division headquarters will be in Enugu, where Enugu, Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, and Imo States will be covered. The 83rd Division headquarters will be in Benin City, where Edo, Delta, and Bayelsa State will be covered. The establishment, according to the presidency, of the new divisions in Makurdi, Ilorin, Jalingo, and Benin City will significantly help command and control and improve and decentralize operational decision-making, strengthen border security, and enhance the protection of critical national infrastructure. That's a breaking news we are following for you as far as the presidency is concerned today. Well, the Senate has raised fresh concerns over the federal government's budget implementation, despite reports of improved revenue performance from key government agencies during an engagement with the Minister of Finance and top economic officials. Senator Tahir Mangono was the one who raised the alarm. He questioned why capital projects and critical government programs appear to be lagging if revenue collections are exceeding projections. The senator also expressed concern over the reported absence of capital releases to security agencies and sought clarification on the retention of about 1.7 trillion naira from recent Federation account allocations. Take a listen to Senator Mangono.
We have exceeded the target of our revenue collection. It is inherently contradictory for government to woefully fail to implement the budget. Where are these revenue going to? If the budget, for example, 2025 budget has not been implemented, and we have to roll over 70% of 2025 to 2026, and that with the promise that 30% will be implemented before March. Up to March, even 30% was not implemented. National Assembly has to extend the lifespan of the budget up to September to allow government to implement just 30% component of 2025 budget.
Senator Mongonon. Then the Minister of Finance, Professor Oyedele, had some explanations to make on this. Take a listen to him.
For external loans, we always need the approval of the National Assembly. So what tends to happen is, when we get the approval of the National Assembly, the media would rightly report it. And many people take that as money borrowed. When we now borrow the money, they report it again. So, in fact, I think it was last year when the National Assembly approved about $20 billion, which was based on MTEF. So people add up big numbers as the money we have borrowed. And that is misleading in terms of the analysis. We're currently finalizing this breakdown in the Ministry of Finance. We'll make it available to the public. It will show how much the National Assembly approved and how much of that we have borrowed and how it has been spent.
All right, let's get a sense of the economic direction of this country. It's been led by the President Bola Tinubu and his team. What sense does it make? More revenue, low capital releases, and even the military are complaining that they don't have enough money. And other ministries are complaining too. Contractors are complaining. What sense does this make? I'm being joined on this matter by co-founder of Budget, is an economic and budget affairs analyst, Mr. Seun Onigbinde, who is live for us in our Lagos studio.
Thank you so much,
Mr. Onigbinde, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Seun. It's been a pleasure.
So just before we begin the conversation, earlier on, I was telling you about the case between EFCC and businesswoman Aisha Achimogo earlier. Today, a CSO organization are cautioning and asking the EFCC to be wary of what could appear as lack of fairness in handling the matter. Take a look at what the CSO said earlier.
Our findings indicate that the process leading to the forfeiture was fraught with procedural irregularities. Justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done. The rule of law demands that every citizen, regardless of gender or status, is afforded fair hearing and lawful procedure. The invasion of private residence is another call for concern. We are particularly alarmed by reports of the invasion of Ms. Achimogo's private residence in the presence of her aged mother and minor children. Such actions, carried out without due regard for human dignity and family privacy, fall short of acceptable law enforcement standards and appear to have been done in bad faith. The Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, to urgently review the entire process with a view to ensuring strict compliance with the law, fairness, and respect of human rights. Relevant judicial authorities to ensure that all appeals and legal remedies are exhausted transparently and without prejudice.
All right, then. That's the case between the EFCC and businesswoman Aisha Achimogo. Let's get back to Mr. Onigbinde in our Lagos studio. Mr. Onigbinde, give us a sense of what you think is going on. How does anyone understand? On one hand, this government says a lot of money is coming in. We're getting more money, revenue. Yet, low capital releases. And we're seeing the muddling up of the 2024, 2025, 2026 budget. Now, it's now like they are triplets. They've merged everything, and everything is convoluted. It's not very difficult to understand for the average person. Even some of you who are economic and financial minded are finding it difficult to understand. Is the Tinubunomics a special model of economic policy and governance, or what exactly, how do you define it? What exactly is going on in this country?
I mean, thank you so much, Mr. Okinbaloye. And I think, when the president presented the 2026 budget at the National Assembly, he made a promise that the era of running multiple budgets was coming to an end. And that by April this year, we were going to have a budget, the 2026, where, don't forget, the National Assembly said they first gave them a leeway to execute 30% of the 2025 budget as at March, so that they can wrap up the 2025 budget and move on the 2026 budget. But even as of March 2026, they have not even done anything in 2025 budget. So they have moved it to 2026. And if you ask around, we still have outstanding payments for 2023 budgets. Then we have 2024, 2025, 2026. And let's not make any mistake. These funds are capital expenditure components of the budget, the most part of the recurrent side of the budget, which is salaries, overheads, debt servicing costs, statutory payments to government agencies like the National Assembly, the NJCs, and all of that. All of that is running and scheduled. What is happening is that the money that is meant to be used to build roads, to build schools, to build hospitals, those are the things that are getting delayed, because in the order of capital sector, public expenditure, that gets the least priority. Now, we had already said to the federal government in the past that if you had not executed a project in the budget, choose and decide that, is this project a priority to the federal government? If it's a priority, you can add it to the supplementary budget of the current budget. You don't need to continue to roll the budget over and over. If the budget, because there's so many items you find in the budget that have no priority, they don't make any developmental sense to the Nigerian people. For example, you put in palaces in the budget. The federal government, as big as the federal government is trying to build palaces. Or the federal government is investing in churches and mosques. Or the federal government is buying musical instruments for a church. You are going to ask me, what developmental opportunity does that give? And so there are multiple layers of these issues. And it's that there is no coordinated fiscal program from the federal government. The federal government is raising revenues, but the challenge is also it has significant issues. One of those issues is the debt servicing cost. The debt servicing cost, because of the devaluation of the currency, has skyrocketed. It's around 17 trillion naira lent as of last year. So if even you make 23 trillion naira, and let's not lie, the federal government is not meeting its revenue goals. It might look as if FIRS is meeting targets, but let's not forget FIRS collections sometimes include custom collections in terms of the VATs that it collects on behalf of customers. Sometimes also includes payments for the federation. If the federal government has 23 trillion and it pays 17 trillion on debt servicing costs, and it pays his salaries for his worker, which is around 7 trillion naira, I mean, what exactly is left to run capital project again? So the federal government still has a significant revenue problem that is refusing to tell the Nigerian people, because of the debt servicing component. And now we are issuing new debt. We're issuing new debt at 16 to 18%. So the debt servicing cost is not slowing down anytime soon. So the federal government needs to reflect on its fiscal choices and ask itself, how do I generate more revenue? That's the first point. The second point you also have to is, how do I prioritize capital spending that delivers impact? And that starts from the budgeting process. If you're trying to build the biggest budget, for example, we have a 68 trillion naira budget now, and you put every sort of thing, every part of things in the budget. Let's not forget, in the previous times, the executive and the legislature used to go back and forth on the budget. And all of these arguments about how do I ensure that what exactly makes it in the budget is in the interest of the Nigerian people. The executive do not have control over the budget in any way. They do not analyze it. They do not say, is this program of priority? And that's how we ended up with this, that fake agency issue where that also got into the budget as well. So for me, the executive has not done a thorough job and done a proper fiscal coordination mechanism. And it still has revenue problems. And it still has spending efficiency issues as well.
Yeah. Just let me come to you quickly. make us understand, because I know this is your forte. Over the last several administrations, you and your colleagues at Budget, you've been analyzing and breaking down, making sense of budgets of this country, not only at the national budget, but also budget of state government. What went wrong? Just when Bola Tinubu administration began, it does look like we started having budget disease.
Yep.
All of a sudden, we started having problems. Is it a problem inherited from Buhari, whom they say that devastated our economy, or what exactly is going on? Or Tinubu Tinubu government just have a budget disease problem, or what exactly do you think is wrong? All of a sudden, 2023, 2024, 2025, we are having a problem, and we've not been able to balance out as a country. Our national budget is on a K-leg. What is going on? Does this government have a budget problem, or what is going on?
I think you have made the answer some way. I think the current government, I don't think they have fidelity to the budget process. Or possibly the managers they put in place do not even properly understand how a budgeting process should be done. The budgeting process must be time-bound. It's not an endless loop. If you say we budget, there's a fiscal year. A fiscal year exists for a purpose. And averagely, that's like 12 months. Maybe you stretch it 15 months. Now, when now becomes an endless loop that people keep going back into the budget and choosing what they choose to implement, that might not even feel like, imagine someone still taking capital projects to build maybe balls or to build a palace, maybe in the 2024, 2025 budget. What value does that have at this point? So I don't think the current government has fidelity to the budget. They have a revenue challenge that they are not owning up to. Because the biggest jump in...
Mr. Onigbide, how do you explain that they have revenue challenge? A lot of the revenue generating agencies, we are just in the mid-year, and we are getting reports, Senate is reporting it, some of them are reporting it in those agencies, that they have even exceeded their revenue revenue projection target. In the mid-year.
Yeah,
how can we be having revenue problems?
Yeah, they do, because
most of these agencies are exceeding their revenue.
Yeah, because the federal government sets a target of revenue, and I'm looking at the aggregate revenue here. FIRS can meet its revenue. Does NNPC meet its revenue? The customs can meet its revenue. The independent agencies, are they meeting their revenue? Because it's the federal government that will say we have a target revenue of 38 trillion naira, and you can't even bring 25 trillion naira to the table. So if you say you have a revenue, okay, show us the revenue. Another problem, you also have a transparency challenge. As of now, we do not have the budget implementation report for 2025, the full year. So even you can't even see the total. If you say you have even the revenue and you have met the revenue, show it to us openly. You don't have Q1 2026. We just finished Q2 2026. So you can't even properly analyze. So when people say it on TV, on radio, and say, oh, we have met our revenues, we do not even have a factual document. Whatever you are releasing on a draft, when we look at it from our own angle, we say this revenue is still not enough, because the federal government has almost 16 to 17 trillion to spend on debt servicing. He has another 7 trillion naira to spend on salaries. Then he's still going to run what you call consolidated expenses. He's going to run service-wide charge. He's going to pay pensions. He's going to run statutory transfers. Minimum revenue for the federal government to even run his overhead and recurrent side of things around 30 trillion. The federal government does not have a 30 trillion naira revenue. I'm not talking about the states. The states are awash with cash. But the federal government also needs more. We need more transparency. But I say even beyond that, I don't think the Tinubu government believes in the budget that it presents. Because it seems they present that budget, but they do not understand the fundamentals that it must be time-bound. And if you have finished the budget, and if you have stopped working on the budget, at that point, you have to sit down and reflect and say, okay, I have expended money, time is of the essence, I need to stop implementing this budget, and I need to bring this budget to a supplementary item in the next budget.
So, Ms. Onigbinde, so please, because a lot of my audience on this program may not be very economy savvy, or they may not understand they may not be the type that are interested in the details of economics and finances and financial analysis. But I want it to be straight. And give me which of these is the description of the Tinubu government in terms of running the affairs of this country on the economy side. Are they bad managers of the economy, or they just met a terrible situation on their hands that is a fait accompli, or this government just lack the fidelity or lacks the ability to be able to control the disaster they met on ground? Which of these best describe this government?
I think you will start with the fact that on the fiscal side of things, there have been bad managers of the fiscal policies of this country. And the second thing you will also see is that they removed subsidy and devalued the currency, and they did not probably understand the wider implication of that on debt service. If I borrow money from foreign money at 400 naira to $1, when I'm about to pay back, I'm paying back at 1,400 naira to $1. So you ought to understand that your debt servicing cost is going to rise. I feel also that they have also not sat down and prioritized capital projects. Now, you cannot do everything, but if you continue to do things outside the budget, for example, we have a lot of projects that this administration is doing under its renewed hope agenda that we do not see in the budget. And the question is, so it looks like, that's why I said there's no proper fidelity to the budget. You put a budget there, the projects that you want to do, you take them and say, okay, these are the projects that I want to prioritize. And it seems that those projects don't sit in the budget. So you're executing capital projects. You're building some roads. You're doing a few things, but it's not properly situated in the budget system.
Mr. Onibide, would you say in your years of monitoring budget, national budget, would you say this is the most disastrous you have seen?
Yeah, it's a fair point to make that this is the most disastrous part of. I mean, we've run the budget since the Jonathan period. That was founded in 2011. And if you have to credit the administration, their budget might not be big on numbers. I mean, I forgot that. Let's not like that. We also had a stronger currency then. But they have understood that there was fiscal discipline. You know, nowadays, if I'm a member of an MDA, I just put whatever I like in the budget. If the budget has a renewed hope agenda, let us see it in the budget. For me, this is the worst management of the budgeting process. If you look
at it critically, look at Mr. Oyedele's defense on debt and debt servicing, and vis-a-vis some of what Senator Tahir Magunu said. He's described the failure to implement Appropriation Act as a breach of the law. And even according to him, he called it, quote, impeachable offense. What do you make of the senator's demand of the federal government and Mr. Oyedele's defense in front of the lawmakers?
I mean, Mr. Oyedele is new on this job, and I think my organization visited him last week, where we shared our own thoughts to him around what we think he can do differently on the budgeting side of things and also on the finance side of things. The issues that ail these administrations are not new. We already have understanding of that. If you do not implement the budget, yes, and you willfully do not implement the budget, it's an impeachable offense. It's high offense. So if you willfully don't do it properly, because it means that what you sworn to, in terms of your covenant with Nigerians, in terms of development, you veer off it and you choose to do whatever you like. And so, for me, I feel that the lawmakers are doing their job. They are holding the government, the executive accountable, and they should continue to do that. What the executive needs to do is let them have budget credibility, let them focus on what matters, and let them have capital budget prioritization. And let them also figure out a way to raise revenues and improve the revenue standard. And not just this talk on radio, I've met my revenue. Show us the evidence. Publish budget implementation report so that we know if you have actually met your revenue or not. And we can understand the prescription to give to you.
All right. Seun Onigbinde, co-founder, Budget. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. We're going to break, everyone. But when we return, there are concerns about whether or not INEC is capable of delivering a free and fair election. Because what is an electoral process without a formidable or a reliable result collation process? They're fierce. And these fears will be given to you tonight. After this break, everyone.
For years, we believed that world-class meant far away. In healthcare, precision is everything. But the distance between you and exceptional care has just disappeared. We don't just practice medicine, we are driven by high standards. At Duchess International Hospital, we've brought the world's most advanced technology and global expertise right to the heart of Lagos, where cutting-edge technology meets the warmth of Nigerian hospitality. Recover in our warm, hospitable wards and dedicated physio units designed for your comfort and recovery. For VIP patients, our exclusive Royal Suites offer comfort and privacy. From complex cardiac procedures to premium wellness checks. No visas, no long flights, just family by your side. Exceptional healthcare isn't only across the ocean anymore. It's here. Duchess International Hospital. World-class care here at home. Experience the new standard.
Malaria? Again?
I'm beginning to think this malaria is spiritual.
Madam Landlady, there is nothing spiritual about this. It is obvious you've not taken the right medication.
Luta contains artemether and lumefantrine, and it's used to treat malaria.
Hey, Oga Luta, thank you for your intervention the other day. I feel very okay now.
Luta is another quality product from Hovid and marketed by Pharmatex Nigeria Limited.
With Luta, malaria is in big trouble.
Have you checked the company's compliance status?
All the papers are in there, sir.
That's not what I asked you. One careless mistake can embarrass an institution.
Inactive companies raise compliance concerns. They can expose agencies, banks, and institutions to risk.
Before you approve any contract or make any payment or any transaction, check first.
Check first before you approve.
CAC, keeping your business safe and compliant.
Excuse me, ma. This is your 100% income here.
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair?
Since your landlord just increased rent, I saved for this one separately on Money Point.
Ma, you say you save on Money Point?
Yes.
This Madam Money Point here, the array of your dryer there, his target savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub, his feet savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact.
Jennifer, Money Point save as you transact. Money Point fixed savings and Money Point target savings.
What's up? Why did I don't contribute to the right today? Come on, you go give your money to Hadaku to say. You see Money Point accounts here. You don't go open a savings account. Now Hadaku you should. I beg everybody inside this my salon. Oh, yeah, bring out your phone and download the Money Point app now. Even you. What are you waiting for? Download the Money Point app now. Hadaku, wow, open Money Point account.
Money Point, made for your progress.
In today's economy, no organization wins alone. Competitive advantage lives across networks, partners, and ecosystem. Yet many leaders struggle with partner alignments, governance challenges, and lost value across alliances. The leaders who win master ecosystem strategy and alliance leadership. Join TechSem's winning in the age of ecosystem on the 24th to 27th of August 2026 at Delta by Marriott, York, UK. Learn from Professor Vin van Haverbeek, Professor Nick Cheeseman, and John Peters how to orchestrate powerful partnerships that unlock new growth. Fee is 9.5 million naira. For more information, contact the number on your screen or send a mail to the email on your screen.
My name is Austin Azoko Kocha, but you all call me JJ. That's because I was so unstoppable, they named me twice. Those days, there were times when it was difficult for me to perform. But you know what? I never stayed down. I remained unstoppable. No one could stop me, not even malaria, when mosquito bites. Now you too can be unstoppable if you use Lonart against malaria.
Now available in a new design. Same Lonart, same unstoppable dew.
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. So today, Yaga Africa, a democracy and governance development organization, convened a policy roundtable on the electronic transmission and collation of election results, bringing together key stakeholders who assess Nigeria's preparedness for digital election result management ahead of the 2027 general elections. The event brought together representatives from INEC, the Interparty Advisory Council, CSOs, and election experts to discuss reforms aimed at improving transparency, credibility, and efficiency in the electoral process. But there are explanations as to some of the worries stakeholders are having ahead of the election. If you look at what happened in Ekiti, there are a lot of suspicious manner in which the election result collation process went. Let me allow you to listen to some of the issues that were raised.
INEC has upgraded the IREV, it has upgraded the BVAS. What are these upgrades? The public needs to know. Yes, you go to meetings, INEC talks about this, but often people cannot just reference speeches that are made, especially when those speeches are not on record. So it's important that INEC puts out, a document that explains the results management regime.
We are confident we will be able to handle these issues. We've conducted several elections, by-elections, governorship elections, since the 2023 election and the incidents that we have. And everybody.
All right, let's talk about this and break it down. Let's make it make sense to every Nigerian. Because if you don't understand, I will make you understand. If you go to vote, that vote is useless when the result is not credible. And now, there are those who think that there are issues around how the result is being collated. The IREV, if you have not heard of it, it is a way and manner in which the results are being dumped in a portal which you as a citizen have access to. But you know what happened in Ekiti? For several hours, the results were not coming into the IREV. All of a sudden, the result came in bulk. Boom. It stopped. After some time, it came again. Boom. In one fell stroke. And there are those who are wondering, what kind of technology? But there are those things that INEC have done in the background, in upgrade, in update, in the review of the process. But who knows? How did they go about it? Are they informing people? They are just doing this in silo and in the quiet of their offices? And it raises a lot of questions about the credibility of the electoral umpire. So I have one man who understands the system. He worked several years there. He served as the director of legal, the director of voter education and publicity. He's also a very senior lawyer. Mr. Oluwole Osasiwuzi is live for us here in our studio. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You were at the round table. Yes, the explanation, and a lot of Nigerians, look, without the trust in the process, Nigerians will have a problem with the election. People will not go out. People don't think that the results are legitimate. Correct. Now, how do you explain what INEC has done in the background? They've quite done a few work on the IREV, but nobody knew until today, perhaps.
That is correct. First of all, it's important to note that IREV is now recognized in the Electoral Act. We had the challenges before now that the 2022 Act and the judgments that came post-2022 to say that IREV is the creation of the INEC guidelines, but not a creation of the Electoral Act. So the position of IREV has been strengthened by that. And I think banking on that, the Commission went ahead to do a lot of work. And you're quite right. I am somehow close to the Commission, but I did not know, most participants did not know all the things that had been done by the Commission. It was as if it was winking in the dark, And I think one of the take-homes from today was that, look, if you've done so much, you should let this information come out to the public. There should be a lot of publicity, a lot of enlightenment to people so that people know of it. And because it's critical to developing and reestablishing trust. Recall that after 2023, a lot of trust was lost. And in the intervening period, there's been a trust deficiency between the electorate, the people who are the major stakeholders, and the commission, INEC. So the director of ICT was there, one or two directors were there, National Commissioner represented the chairman. They came to explain step by step all the things that they have done. And yeah, I think there are some marked improvements in that process. And of course, they gave us some assurances. But they also took a lot back, I hope, and I hope they'll listen to those things. You're doing a lot, but you can't be having an incestuous conversation. You can't just be doing things in the background from your offices.
They are behaving like a secret society. For an organization that is supposed to serve as a public, everything that INEC is doing, at least the fidelity of the process needs public communication.
Absolutely. You are serving the public. It's the public, especially IREF, for example. IREF, it's a viewing portal. It's for people, public to see, stakeholders, voters to see these things. And if you're not letting this information, it's 5 months to the next round of general elections. So people have to know, and it's now that it starts. Going to Osun now, you should give it a lot more publicity. So Osun will give up a flip, hopefully. We'll give up a flip so that there'll be a lot more in terms of publicity, in terms of enlightenment, so that people know. And already, INEC has a responsibility to win back all those who had lost trust in the system, that their votes will count. A lot of people out there, and that's what we kept telling them. Like, a lot of people don't believe that this results will count. We believe that the people believe that the results will be manipulated. And recent off-cycle elections have shown and proven that, right from 2023 going on to Kogi, Essex and Edo and things like that. People are not so sure. Ekiti, things happen in Ekiti as well, from what I'm told. So you have to reassure the public that their votes will count, for them to come out to want to stay in the sun and the rain to cast their votes.
Our process is getting more digital. And not only that it's getting digital, the law also is getting to recognize the computerized and the digitized aspect of it. For example, there is now a digital Form EC8A, which, of course, a lot of people will believe that before now, the only one recognized by law is the physical Form EC8A. The digital EC8A is one of the issues that, personally, studying some of the concerns of stakeholders, is that INEC needs to give us an understanding and confidence that the digital Form EC8A is not seen by another person. First and foremost, cleared and, touched or, goes through one third party before the public is able to vet it. Because the question here is that, and if you can bring up the slides so that I can show you some of the things that Yaga Africa, I'll show you from the page 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, where they highlighted how results came in.
Yes.
At about 4 o'clock, the results were trickling in. About 5 o'clock, it came in almost 40 or 50%.
It deluged.
It stopped for almost an hour again. Then it came in again. Then it means that something is wrong. For someone who understands the system in INEC, what should INEC be doing immediately? And you mentioned that there was a lack of trust after the 2023 election. And Professor Amopiton needs to do something. Fix it and repair the reputation of INEC. Is Osun a very great opportunity for INEC to do that?
Well, absolutely. I have some, I don't know if we use the word sympathy for some. He's taking up a yeoman's job, quite honestly, because he was not responsible. He was not there in 2023 when the technical glitch did what we all know what's happened in 2023. He was not there going to the off-cycle elections. But he has been there subsequently, and he has to carry the can in that regard. So he has a difficult job. It is his responsibility now to build trust in that system, to show that he's different and that things that were done previously will not reoccur. By the way, I'm not too sure I agree with you on that digital EC8A. The law does not recognize any digital EC8A. Let's be careful about that. I was hearing of it for the first time today. It's an INEC process within the confines of INEC. I don't want to use the words you use are quite strong. It's a coven. It's almost as if a secret court. That's not what it should be. You're right. You're quite right. But maybe this is the first step, the first engagement, and I hope that there'll be a series of engagements where opportunities are given to stakeholders, to the media, and above all to the electorate, to let them know this is what we're doing. When they explain that digital EC8A, it seemed to make a lot of sense, but it still has some challenges in itself. What role is it going to play? The Electoral Act is quite clear. The Electoral Act has dealt comprehensively with how results should be transmitted. It did not recognize electronic. It says the result is EC8A that is signed by the party agents and by the presiding officer and party agents is scanned. That is what it recognizes. So if you are going to do any other form of thing, what role is it going to play? Is it going to override that specified in the electoral
act? You have about 3 versions now.
Yes.
The physical copy.
Yes. The scanned copy, IREF copy.
And the
digital one.
What
role is that going to play? If you put in a guideline, it's going to play a preeminent role over and above those recognized by the law, then you're going to have a problem with the judiciary.
Look at this, Mr. Oluwole. Bring back that slide and look at it. In the Form EC8A uploads to the IRF in the Ekiti governorship election.
Yes.
Before the first upload appeared, it took 1 hour 40 minutes.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
because you have to count, you have to sort out and everything else. You have to get for smaller polling units. No problem at all about that. You can take an hour, and then satisfy yourself, do all the protocols and upload.
And guess what happened? Just in 16 minutes, 1,107 result sheet came in one fell swoop.
Why? How? We must interrogate that. I think there's a need for an explanation.
There's a name for it. It's a technical magic. If there's a technical glitch, there's a technical
we don't want magic in our elections.
1 hour 52 minutes, near total pause after 84%. All of a sudden, there's just a quiet.
Radio silence.
Well, at that stakeholders meeting, did INEC explain this? What was the explanation?
The honest truth is that there was no satisfactory explanation as far as most of us were concerned. We just didn't quite understand it. I'm not too sure they have interrogated this data, why it was like that. I did not hear any satisfactory explanation about that. So we glossed over it. But it's something, there are some take-homes, and it's the beginning of a conversation.
Yeah, so go back. So look at the graph.
Yes.
The first result hit the IRF 140 minutes after close of poll at 4:10.
Yes.
748 sheets in 5 minutes at 6:37 p.m. 748 sheets in 5 minutes. 112 minute pause at 84%.
Yes.
So you have over almost 2 hours of silence. Nothing happened.
Yes.
At 11:12, the result ended at 96. The upload ended at 96. Because whatever that has gone wrong, these guys need to know that the game is up. Nigerians cannot be deceived any longer. Correct. This showed that something went wrong. Something happened. Technically speaking, it's unacceptable. You cannot manipulate what is now recognized by law.
Absolutely. And the important thing is that IREV is a simple, straightforward process. You scan. Once the results have been declared, EC8A, you put in, you scan it and upload it. And a lot of people expect it to be done real time. But I think there are certain protocols that INEC has to validate the word that we kept hearing in the course of today's event. They validate to ensure that result that they're going to upload is actually that result. That's okay. But you have to tell us, and you have to show us the protocols, and there has to be some transparency. It shouldn't be so opaque that we don't know, because we don't want human intervention, even if it's for good cause. And from the explanations, it was for good cause.
There is something, and perhaps this is how you help us throw us out of the studio, Mr. Uzi. You handle it. And some of you were literally living with us here in the studio during elections. But what has been a major problem under Professor Amupito is public communication.
Correct.
If INEC is going to fail in 2027, I'm very certain that 2 things can kill this commission: communication and technical issues.
Yes.
If they don't handle it well, it shows that they've improved on operation and logistics. But communication and technical aspect of their operation, they need to look at it. If there's one word that you need to give to the public as regarding the general and the global picture of things tonight, on what INEC is doing and what is done in the ahead of us, what would that be?
I think every opportunity we should interrogate what INEC is doing. And I'm sure they're listening and watching your program, and INEC has to take... And it came out very clearly today that you must communicate. Even the technical glitch, maybe from privately they give us some explanations. Publicly, they've never really explained what public glitch is. And communication, the lack of communication was a major issue. So no matter how good an election you communicate, if anything goes wrong, if anything goes separate from how you plan it, you must communicate. I think it's very important. That is the only way to reassure people and to build confidence. That's the only way.
Mr. Oluwole Osazuzi, a very senior lawyer, a former Attorney General of Edo State, and served as Director Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. Many thanks, as always. It's a pleasure having you on the program tonight.
Always
Thank you so much indeed. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimale, God bless you.
Know what's happening across Nigeria's various regions on Channels Television's Newsroom series. Every Monday, we bring you stories from the Southwest. And on Tuesday, the Northwest is our focus. We're in the South-South for midweek reports on Wednesday. And later in the week, the North Central takes center stage. The Southeast gets the spotlight on Fridays. And we close out the week with the Northeast on Saturday. Watch Newsroom series, 3 p.m., Monday to Saturday, only on Channels Television.